Hello. Happy Sunday for everyone that is tuning in. It is a very dreary, kind of just rainy day today. And I heard it this morning when I woke up. I think it was like maybe four or something in the morning, and it was coming down so good. But these are like very peaceful to me for some reason. Like sometimes I just listen to rain because I just love it. Everybody already know. Like I love rain. Just because one, that's coming from God, and just everything it stands for. So to me it's just like that song that just says like let it rain. Like yes, from the storehouses, yes, rain down, blessings and favor and just all good things. So anytime I see the rain, it's a blessing. Like I don't have any type of negative things associated with it. Everything is good, renewal and refreshing and just spiritual with, baptisms or rebirths and stuff. Just everything about it. You all know I love water too. So, yeah, when it's raining like this, I'm like, man. And I looked outside because normally I'll go walk in it, and today I was like, ooh, no, it's a little too dark. Like it's very dark for it to even be this time. And so I'm going to wait it out and kind of see what happens. But it's a good day when it's raining. Like I just, it's a good day. And so that's how we're starting it off. Also, some people say it's like good sleeping weather, and that's for sure how like how it is for me. It's like I need to get out there in it, but at the same time it's so incredibly peaceful. It's like I just need to experience it, and so it keeps me awake, but at the same time it helps me rest. And so yeah, coming from you from the bed, right, and looking out the window, I have thoughts. I was sitting here trying to figure out like what am I going to be talking about today. Just because I did tell you I was gonna give you the deets. I was gonna give you the lowdown on me and Christmas. I was gonna give you that, and then which I'll have some thoughts to share today for sure. And then also some other things that came up throughout the past few days. And so let's go ahead and get into it, right? For Christmas, right? So this is that awkward moment where you're growing in life and you're transitioning, and people are used to you being a certain way, or like society in general like knows that this is what it is. This is what's going on right now. It is Christmas, and so everyone must celebrate this. Like seriously, this is one of the things right, that I like to go into for real. So I caught myself in situations this year because like I got little ones that's like telling me, Merry Christmas and stuff, and then you got people out on the street and stuff telling you, and it's like you want to say it because it's just the thing to do, right? Like that's just how society is set up. Like somebody tell you, you tell them back, and but at the same time it's like, but no, I don't celebrate that, what have you. And so I'm in that weird like transitional phase and trying to like tell the younger ones, like I'm trying to explain to my nephew like I don't celebrate that anymore. But kids are like they want gifts and things, they not really thinking about it in that way, and shoot, some adults aren't even thinking about it in that way. And so I just caught myself in some really kind of awkward situations this year. But that's the thing, right? Like when you're committing to God and you're like for real wholeheartedly in that, it's like I really don't care what the response is. Like I don't care what the response is. I don't care how people perceive it. Like I don't care what the consequence of it is going to be. Like this is important to me. This is how I feel. This is what I'm receiving, in my faith and where I am in my life. And so I kind of wanted to break it down a little bit and go into it. As always, I'm never trying to impose my beliefs on anyone. I just love to put out, different perspectives about things so that it gives you something to kind of chew on and think about. So for me, over the years, look, I'm taking it very slow and easy today because the weather is, having me kind of calm, but I still got that energy, okay. But yeah, over the years for me, I've always felt some type of way about the holidays. Like, and when I say that, I mean just like Christmas and Thanksgiving, like just how that whole little spiel comes up. What is it? It's like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, like it's just all together. And for other faiths, I don't practice that. Obviously, I was Christian, or I am Christian, and so I do Christmas. And so over the years, the first thing that hit me, like as I was getting older, all right, in my like late teens, was like I'm tired of eating the same food over and over again. Like like I'm eating it at this time, and then I'm turning around eating it at this time, and then at the same time I was working, and so as what we want to say work is as high schoolers and stuff. But it was like I was working and I was going to school, and it was just like this is a day that one you out of school or whatever, so you want to go do whatever you want to do. But then I would be working too, and then I would leave work, and then I would be going and doing all the like eating and festivities and stuff. And it was just like, man, after years of doing that, I got tired, and I was just like, I'm tired of that. Like when the holidays come, it's like I want to rest, and I don't want to be running around, and I don't want to be doing all this stuff. At that point, I wasn't even thinking about gifts and all that. I was just thinking about the fact that it's a lot and it's tiring, what have you. This is something that's supposed to be like, oh, this is fun and I'm so excited, and it was like I was not feeling that, what have you. And then you'll hear other stories like as I was getting older, right? Like in my 20s, and I was dating and then got married. It was like, okay, now it's like you're adding on stuff, right? Like now you're adding households, or you're adding people with gifts and stuff and everything. And it's just like it just was not fun for me, like here and there. And I like to eat, yes, but it's like I'm eating the same thing, like doing the same stuff every year. You all know how I hate that. And so yeah, it was just like as I was getting older, every year it was something. And so then once I got married, I was just like, oh, okay, well, we can set up our own traditions and stuff, because that too was just like I don't want to keep doing what somebody else done did or what have you. I want to do what works for me, what works for us, and stuff like that. And so then we kind of like switched up what we eat and what we would do or what have you. But still, it was just like something is off, like something is off. And I never could figure it out, like it was just another day, right? And I always grew up where holidays were something man made. I knew that flat out. Like it wasn't as if I had this deep significance in it. It was just the fact that since society as a whole was doing it, it's like you had this expectation placed on you to do things. Like you're expected to be with family or be with friends or be, doing something with people that you're close to, right? Because everything is closed and, like you can't do nothing else. And you're expected to be eating, right? Like you're supposed to have some type of meal or what have you and be sitting with the family or sitting with the friends and all of that. You're expected to be buying gifts for people and receiving gifts, or, like just all these different expectations that society has placed on this one particular day of the year. And you have this expectation, just like I said, you going around and now it's like everybody saying Merry Christmas, but it's like everybody don't celebrate Christmas, what have you. Like they might celebrate a different holiday, or they just don't celebrate, period. But because of these expectations that society has placed on us, it's like this is what you're expected to be doing. Same thing with, as I got older and then I'm working, and they'll be like, oh, where are you visiting? Are you going here? Did you get all your gifts? And it's like, it was like a reinforcement letting me know, like, we have all of these expectations set in society of how this day is supposed to be. And then it really hit hard, right? It started hitting hard these past few years for me, because then I was working at a shelter. And it's like when you have people that, they might not have it, or they might have some circumstances and stuff that have just randomly popped up and all of that. It's like society still sets this expectation on people that you're supposed to be doing this, right? Like kids, they don't they not hearing the fact that, like something has came up, things are changing. This is a necessity. This is just a want and stuff like that. And then it's this, expectation that's placed on them that you supposed to still be having this or doing this. And if you're not, then what's wrong with you? you know and so then it was like really hit me at that time. Like, one, I didn't like that it was an expectation placed on people, in society for this one particular day. But then also it's like, man, where's people feeling like they have to do this, like it's an expectation where now people are stressed, people, tired, they doing stuff they don't want to do, what have you. It's like, what is this day really supposed to be about, right? And so when I got in my 30s, that's what happened. I started reading more of the Bible, and I'm like, this ain't got nothing to do, what I'm like, everything that we're going about doing, for this particular day, in my opinion, I was like, it has nothing to do with anything dealing with Jesus. And anytime you hear people talking about it, that's what they'll say, like, oh, okay, Jesus is the reason for the season. But then when you hear them talk about like what's important to them, it's about family, it's about eating, it's about, like, for real, like, this is what I would hear. Over the years, I was like taking tabs, because I'm like, what do people think this is about? And it's like, yeah, it's about coming together with family. Like, oh no, it's about passing down traditions. It's about, eating. And I'm like, it's supposed to be about Jesus. So, like, for people who don't know, like, Christmas was, first of all, yeah, man-made holiday. But when they say Jesus is the reason for the season, it's supposed to be like a reminder of his birth. And at the same time, I was reading the Bible. I'm like, there is no specific information about when he was born, like saying that it was December, saying that it was, like this particular day in December, that it was, about giving gifts. We know, the people came and gave the gifts, but it's like, so for Christmas, we have now made it about giving gifts and receiving gifts without any type of real meaning behind why that's happening. You get what I'm saying? For this particular day. And then at the same time, I'm like, okay, we're talking about the eating and all of that. And it's like, again, what does that have to do with Jesus? Like, if this is supposed to be about him, how did we even select this particular day and this particular month, what have you, like? And I was just like, none of this has anything to do with Jesus, and yeah, people is stressing out over the holidays for travel. They stressing out, being around family, or trying to get to family, or they stressing out, about not having enough, funds to do whatever it is that society is placing on them to do, like all these different things. And I'm like, for one day, like, people going in debt, for one day, like, people for real, like, apprehensive about doing things, or stressing all up until the date, what have you, like, for real, this stuff is real. And so in my mind, I'm like, this ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. And not only that, but it's like, is it really worth it, right? And so now I'm getting even older, right? And I'm reading the Bible, and in Mark, right? And I think it's in some of the other gospels too. So go and you look it up for yourself, and then you let me know what you all think. But in Mark, that's where I'm in now, Mark 7, it talks about traditions. And this is what really hit home for me. For some people, it was like, the Christmas tree. Well, not the Christmas tree, but I think it's in Jeremiah, where they talk about, like, people go and they get these trees and they cut them, and then they put all this, adornments on them and stuff like that. And basically, like, making it seem like this is so great, right? Like Christmas trees. And so for me, it wasn't even that. For me, it was the tradition part. It was the fact that in Mark, it talks about how people set up all these, like, man-made traditions, like it's human traditions that people will follow over following God. Right? And so I'm not going to go through everything it says, but I'm in Mark 7. So go in Mark and you read it for yourself, and you tell me what you think. But pretty much, I believe it was talking about how the Pharisees was coming at somebody because they was like, they eating and, like, they didn't follow the rules, like they didn't wash their hands or what have you before it. And now they doing this and that. And Jesus is like, y'all care more about people following these man-made traditions or traditions that you passing down from ancestors and stuff, but you not thinking nothing about the stuff that I've passed down from you, that I told you to do. You get what I'm saying? So we're more committed in society to doing all this stuff that people done came up with. These are regular people, other human beings have come up with, whether it's our family, whether, ancestors, or whether it's, whoever it is, and we don't even know because we never thought about it. But it's like we steady doing the same traditions and doing the same practices and stuff. And yet we're like so committed, so devoted to making sure that we're doing it. But the stuff that's in the Bible or the stuff that God is telling us to do, that is like on the back burner somewhere. Whatever, like, and he went into it. He's like, stuff like honor your mother and your father, like, don't commit adultery and all, like all the different commandments and stuff that Moses was sharing and the things that he puts in the Bible. He's like, these is the real things that you're supposed to be following. And yeah, you going all the way over here and you're following all this human stuff. Humans done came up with this. And I was thinking about it because I was like, yeah, one day I was buying some what was I doing? Y'all know I love to eat. One day I was in the store and I was getting ready to get some ribs. And somebody's looking and just like and shaking their head like, I wouldn't do it, type of thing. And for some religions, they don't eat pork. And it's just like, okay, like you respect that. But it's like for me, right? He tells you, he's like, don't condemn yourself by what you approve, right? So it's like I respect the fact that other people do stuff. But it's like for me, it's like, one, if it ain't coming from the Bible and then God ain't telling me straightforward, it's like, nah, whatever. So I got my real. He was like, I'm like, I'm sure about to enjoy the mess out of it. I'm like, I'm gonna bless it and then I'm gonna eat it. But it's stuff like that, like for real, where because particularly in Mark, what they saying here is like that was in dealing with religious or dealing with faith-based type of stuff, and they came up with their own rules, right? And they telling people this is how you're supposed to be, this is what you're supposed to do. And it's like you rather follow that, or you're following that more heavily or more committed, devoted to that over what he done wrote years ago, stuff that he done put in the Bible years ago. The first things that you were supposed to do is like we overlooking that and we following all this stuff that other people just like us is coming up with. That's when it was a wrap for me. Right? I'm for real. Like that's when it hit home for me, and I was just like, you know what? Every year it's getting more and more like, what's going on here? Like why is this even happening? And you all know how I am. I challenge social norms. Like I challenge, like, and not in a bad way, but I mean I challenge it because it's like, where did this come from? I'm a very like avid critical thinker, and I like to question things that go on because it's like everything that goes on in life don't mean that it's right. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even matter if somebody is telling you and they in the government, or somebody's telling you and they, in some well-respected role or what have you. It's like you question the stuff that goes on. Like seriously, for yourself. You have to think for yourself, right? What's happening? And so for me, I'm just like, yeah, this is something for real. Like I don't think we ever stopped and asked, like, where does Christmas even come from? It's just something that you grow up with, right? Like you come into society, you born, and each year, if that's what your family doing, that's what y'all do. You know what I'm saying? And you just know, like each year around this time, this is what we're having, this is what we're gonna do, this is what's going on. And at the same time, it's like, when do we ever stop and question, like, where did this come from? Like who started this and why? Like seriously. And so when you look back at my videos, one of them I made, about Christmas, maybe sometime last year or the year before, and I was going into it, but it's like even more in depth now because like now it's like biblical stuff that's connected to it. But at the same time, it's like, if we're gonna do these different things in life, you have to find meaning in them. You get what I'm saying? Like, if we are expected to be intentional individuals, right? Because that's how Jesus was, that's how God is. It's like, if that's what we're supposed to be doing, and we choose to, participate in, different holidays or whatever it is that we're doing in society, it's like, what meaning does that give you? Like, what are you getting from that? Right? Like, it's almost like we're living in this world and we're doing things, but why are you doing it? Are you just doing it because somebody else is doing it? Are you doing it because that's what society says is okay to do? Like that too. I feel like it's a lot of pressure of people celebrating stuff or doing things for different holidays because that's just what everybody is doing. You get what I'm saying? Like, then I had awkward moments too where I'm in, like places with other people, and it's like holiday parties or it's holiday functions and stuff. And it was getting to a point for me where it's like, this ain't even fun. Like, this isn't, you get what I'm saying? Like, you have to find meaning in the things that you're doing in life, if that makes sense. Instead of us just basically following whatever the person ahead of us is doing or whatever is being passed down to us, right? Everything that's done in life don't mean that it's right. Like that part. But I think we don't think that way. We do it because that's just what we've always done. That's what we've always known. But when you for real stop and think about some things, it's like, that don't really make no sense. That don't really make any sense. And so I was really thinking to myself this year, and actually the past few years, like, you don't, like, I can understand that with some people it's like, you got kids and so you gonna do Christmas because then you don't want them to feel some type of way. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't want them to feel left out, but at the same time, I don't want to teach that. Like, right? Like, and this is again just my perspective, but it's like, I don't want to teach my kids about Christmas being about Jesus, because that's not what it's about. Like, as much as we want, to say that's what it is, and again, my opinion, as much as we want to say, like, okay, Jesus is the reason for the season and this is about Jesus, it's like, how often are we seeing people talk about Jesus? And if that's the case, I would want my kids to know, Jesus, remember his birth every single day, because it's because of him that you're even alive, right? It's because of him that we breathing and that we have life, and that he's given us the opportunity to, be out here getting it right, right? Because he came and died for our sins. I don't want to teach that we're just going to celebrate this one day out of the year and one random day that some random person or people came up with. You get what I'm saying? And not that it's even about that. It's like, I want them to know about the birth of Jesus, but I don't want to teach it in that way where now we give gifts and receive gifts because of that. Or, you're expected to eat. Let's come together and eat. It's like, these are things that you can do every single day. Why are we, to me, it's like, now we taking one day out of the year and saying that's oh so special. You get what I'm saying? Like, just all of it for me. Like, as you don't want to be a negative Nancy or like pessimistic, but I'm just being real. It's like, if I'm thinking about the future, right, and things that traditions, right, and he's saying it like in Mark, he's talking about, we create these human traditions and we're basically honoring those more than we honoring what he's telling us to do. And to me, it's like, I'm not about to basically glorify these man-made holidays, and especially Christmas, because to me it's like, okay, really, this is about money. This is about buying food, buying gifts, buying decorations, buying, whatever it is that's going to be for the festivities. And then it's about spending time with people and, like, and, being around them, using all these things that you have brought. Like, the key thing is like, this is about money. And then to sprinkle it at the end, it's like, and then just throw in it's about Jesus, whatever. Then throw in that little bit about Jesus in there. Oh yeah, it's about his birth. Right? But when we think about it, it's like, that's not what's being taught. Like, when you getting gifts and stuff or you sitting down to eat, that ain't what, And so for me, it's like, with my kids, I don't even want to even start that. Like I don't like I'd be more than happy to tell them about what the holiday is. I'd be like, it's just like the donut day and all. Like for real, it's another man-made holiday. But at the same time, it's like I want them to know, no, Jesus was born and he is the reason that we are alive. He's not the reason for the season. He's the reason we are alive. He's the reason that we are even breathing and able to do anything that we do and have anything that we have. And it's something that I don't want to limit to one day out of the year or a season, but I want them to know it every single day. You get what I'm saying? And understand this, I've worked with kids and stuff like that, so I know, first of all, their mind isn't even developed that way. Because they're young and all that, but it's like teach them the way they should go and they ain't gonna stray far, right? So that's why I was like, for me, it's like I don't even want to start that. And then for real, like us, in general in society, it's like now we have to unlearn all this stuff. That's, to me, that's why I feel like in the Bible he's saying renew your mind, because now it's like we have to unteach ourselves all of this stuff that we've been brought up to know because we just live in the world. We're not of it. So now we have to learn what it's really about to live this life and to for real live by the spirit. So I don't even want to start them off, thinking like, yeah, and Christmas is about you. Like, no, it's not. And same thing when you think about like Easter, it's like they talking about Easter bunnies and stuff like that. All the stuff is created. If you think about most of the holidays, like they're created to make money. Like that's what it's about. And I most definitely don't want to teach my kids that you have to have money in order to for real embrace those around you, to love those around you, to be loved. Okay, because Jesus already let you know in the Bible, like come by this is sweet, with no money, with no nothing, come and buy this. It is worth more than gold. You get what I'm saying? Like when you for real stop and you kind of think about some things, because in this world, I feel like that's how it operates. It wants to keep you going and keep you just doing things because that's what they say is supposed to be happening. But it's like when you stop and you for real think about why we do the things we do, some of this stuff don't even make sense. Like, so, like when you stop and for real think about it, it's like some of it doesn't even make sense. And I wanted to wait, to talk about it because I'm like, I don't want, people to feel some type of way. Like celebrate however you want to celebrate. If you choose to celebrate it, do you all day. Like it's nothing wrong with that. But whatever you feeling from the Lord, right? Like he speaks to us, he reveals things to us. And so it's like whatever he's telling you to do, you go by that. I mean it when it says in the Bible, like don't condemn yourself by what you approve of. Keep that between you and God. So this is how I feel, when it comes to the holidays, and specifically Christmas. And I said I'll share my perspective, so right? Because you never know. Like somebody, you just sometimes it's through conversation and sharing things about our lives that people get exposed to something different. But I always encourage you, think for yourself. But for me, it's like that's one of the things where for real we heavily devoted and committed to things that we create in society or things that people done made years ago, but we don't question why it was created. We don't question how it was created. We don't question these things. And if you think about it, a lot of stuff, even laws and stuff like that were created in the past, they were created for that time. And sometimes it's created for certain people. Like that too. Like sometimes it's not created for everyone. Sometimes it's not created for the benefit of everyone. So you have to for real question and stuff that be going on in society, even though we know we've been, doing it year after year after year, or for however long we've been living or could remember. But it's like that don't mean that that's the right thing to do, right? And what does he say in the word? Don't conform to the patterns of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That stuff is real. And so, right, that's where it's at for me right now in my life. So I don't be wanting to sound, some type of way, but for me, it's a transition, right? Like it is. It was some awkward moments, but again, when you for real committed to the Lord and you're trying to, like get it right with Him and stuff, and whatever He's speaking to you about, you really don't care what the noise is going to be or what the response is going to be from others and all of that, because it's something that you are connected to in your faith, right? But I do encourage people for real to just be thinking about it. Why do you celebrate? Like that part. Why do you celebrate? Because honestly, I have to be real with you. Like I gave it a chance after a while when I was really questioning it, and I was stopping and I was listening to what people were saying. I'm telling you, this is what I heard. Like people saying like it's about family. It's about passing down traditions and teaching, the next generation how to, cook this and how to do that. And it's like, none of this stuff was about Jesus. Like, none of it. Like, no, I'm for real. The way I was perceiving it was like, and then they'll sprinkle some in, or they'll tell you a little bit like, oh, and then Jesus is the reason for the season, or you'll hear like, and Jesus was born, or you'll hear the story, and it's like that's beautiful because we want more people, to know the story, and we want, to be what do you call it? We want to be cognizant of what, actually happened, and what, the meaning is behind him being born. But it's like, you can do that on any day of the year. Right. And even if we're saying like, okay, and this is his birthday, I hear that all the time too. Like, this is his birthday. It's like, I've been looking for the longest. I'm like, I don't see this nowhere in the Bible that this is his birthday. Like that December 25th was when he was born. And this is, and if you got to go all researching and stuff and it ain't directly in the Bible, like I'm for real. Like you might want to question that. And so for me, it's just like, I don't know. It's kind of like situations where, in the Bible it talks about making a profit off of him. Right? Like this is what it was intended for. And then just throw Jesus in the mix. We just gonna put his name on it and say, like this is what it's about. But really when I'm looking around, I'm seeing, actually to be real with you, I don't see a lot of happy faces when Christmas comes around. I see a lot of stress. I see a lot of like, and I don't know, maybe I'm biased because, when I would look around, sometimes that's how I would be feeling. But it's like, no, when I would be looking at stuff, it's like people be stressed out and people be trying to get places. There's traffic all the time and every place is crowded and people don't have money, or people, spending money they don't have, or, like just all types of craziness going on. And yeah, like, no. I do see kids smiling. Okay, like you see kids smiling because they getting gifts, but I mean, and you ask them too, and I don't know. Like actually, that's a good question. I might do that. I might start doing that and asking kids like, so what is Christmas about? Because all I hear is I want this and that and whatever. Like, yes, I wrote my list, and not only that, if they even know Jesus is what it's about, they might be saying like, oh, and Santa. Right? Because at one point in time, I would hear that too, like, oh, well, I'm not going to tell my kids, that it's from Santa, this is from me. But it's like, but do they for real know, like, supposedly what it's supposed to be about, right? I don't know. It's questionable, and so I have decided, right? Like, no, that's something I don't want to partake in moving forward. And yeah, the older people get, the more I'll explain that to them, because they're young. But at the same time, it's like for my own, right? For my own kids, I would want them to know who Jesus is, why he is, who God is. Yeah, and bring them up already knowing, like what things are about, right? As much as they can handle, right? Like, and you never know, God can do all things, but you bring them up in the way they should go and they ain't gonna stray far. And so I don't even want to contribute to how we already come up in this world, right? And ain't nobody perfect, but I'm do my best. But it's just like you don't want it to be where it's like I don't even want to throw in no craziness, right? Like even letting them think that that's this and that, and it's like there's no real factual anything to back any of that up. Like it's not like I'm for real. I had to go look myself like, why is it December? Why is it the 25th? Like what? Who said that? Why are we celebrating his birth? It's about his resurrection. You get what I'm saying? Like yes, it's important to remember him being born, but we supposed to be remembering his resurrection, like him dying and actually coming back and doing it all for you. Get what I'm like? This I'm about to say, and again, I'm going into go check out Mark and his other sections too that I read in the Bible, but go check it out where he's talking about traditions and how for real we as people, we as human beings, we are so heavily committed to following what other people are setting up. But the stuff that's in the Bible, the things that he's actually telling us to do, we can't seem to do it. Like I'm for real. It just lets us know for real, like where our values lie and where our priorities are. And for that, I was like, oh, I gotta say to no. Like I'm done. I'm done with that because that like we spending more time trying to follow what somebody else is creating or what someone else feels is acceptable, right? Because if you don't do Christmas or if you don't do whatever the holiday is, then it's like, what's wrong with that person, right? Like, how many times has that happened to me for real? Because I don't celebrate Halloween, I don't celebrate Christmas, and for real, it's just like you would get them looks, and I'm like, what? Well, what's wrong? And then it's like them thinking something wrong with them, or you thinking something, like it's all types of just awkwardness. But it's just like I don't know. The thing that I can encourage people to kind of reflect on and think about, one is, why do you do the things that you do? Like why you what's the way I want to put the question out there? What meaning is this stuff giving to you? Because if we're doing something, we need to be intentional when we're doing it. So what meaning are you getting from that? Right? Because everything that we perceive as fun or everything that everybody is doing is not always the right thing to do, right? So what is it that it's doing for you that you feel like you need to engage in that or partake in it, right? Or are you just for real doing it because that's just what everybody does? And that is pressure. Right, there is a lot of pressure when that happens for real, because you're perceived as looking some type of way if everybody else is doing it but you not. Then it's like something's wrong with you. And that's why I say, although it's a lot of awkward moments and stuff like that, when you are for real committed and you are devoted, to God and trying to do right by him and stuff, you're not going to care what people think. Right. But I just say it's something to for real think about, living in this world and knowing that we're in this world, we're not of it. And he's telling us, do not conform to the patterns and the ways of this world, but be renewed by the transforming of your mind. So the more that we read his word, the more that we're talking to him, the more that we're trying to hear from him and do what he's telling us to do, that's going to triumph over anything that society is saying is acceptable or expected, or this world is putting out as a pattern or a way to conform, or fall in line with how things go, right? And so today I am encouraging and calling you to action, right? To go check that out in the Bible. Just look up traditions and what the Bible is saying about that. And I am in Mark 7, but it's also, I think, in like Matthew's, Colossians. It's like all different areas where he is talking about, us pretty much following a lot of human traditions and going with a lot of human ways of doing things, and then completely overlooking the fact that God comes first and he established what he wants us to do first. But yet we're completely overlooking that and saying we just gonna do whatever we want to do. Like, right? Okay, and now you're acceptable because this is what society says do, this is what we've created, and this is what you should be doing. And it's like, but God established his stuff first, and been said this is what it's supposed to be, and yet are we following that? Are we as devoted and committed as we are when we out buying all of this stuff? Like we out like spending our ass, or spending just excessively over all this stuff. Like, are we giving that same energy, that same commitment, that same like love and all of that? Are we giving that to him and everything he's telling us to do, as far as the commandments, as far as anything that he's putting throughout the Bible, like the New Testament? Because it's a whole lot of stuff in there that we supposed to be doing, and stuff that he's saying get rid of, and how we supposed to be living. And it's like, yeah, are we giving that same energy and that same like devotion as we do to making sure our house is decorated, or making sure like that we done gave out what we supposed to give out, done went to the store, did we get whatever items? I used to work at a grocery store when I was like in my teens, and the holidays were nuts. Like, it was just like people up there fighting over like yams and stuff. Like, for real, are we giving that same energy, that same like commitment, that same devotion to him and everything he's telling us to do? For real. Like, with doing away with malice, and doing away with sexual immorality, and treating people kind, and like we want to be treated, and overlooking faults and forgiving people. So, like, these are things that he been established, but yet it's like we over here following these traditions that the world uncreated. Though we making sure that when Christmas comes, we are dressed, and that we like, for real, that we are here on time, and that we are the life of the party, and making sure we done brought this and gave this person that. But it's like, are you following what the Bible is saying as heavily as we are when the traditions and things are set up by regular people? That part. That's something to chew on and think about for the day. I hope everyone is enjoying the rest of the weekend, because we are on Sunday. Today is Sunday Fun Day. And so, yeah, making sure, although it's Sunday Fun Day, look, let me throw that in there. Making sure that although it's Sunday Fun Day, and it's like, oh, you rest and everything, make sure you also following what the words say, right? Now, see, this is a human thing we have created. It's Sunday Fun Day. But at the same time, it's like, biblically, he say you take a day of rest. Right? So that part, that's what I mean by that. It's like, we want to make up these traditions and stuff, and we want to make up all this stuff. Are you doing what he telling you to do first, though? God come first. So I'm gonna leave it at that, because I already done talked too much. But that's my spiel. Since I didn't get in on the chat yesterday, that's my spiel. Hopefully it gives you something to reflect on, something to chat about for sure. Good conversation, and something that makes you think, if nothing else. So I guess I shall talk to you all at another time. Bye.